Hi, everyone. Welcome to ADO. My name is Kat, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of community. So first off, let me tell you a little bit about what I do here at ADO. I am the Workspace Supervisor, and the Workspace is a co-working space in the back of the building, down over there. And we have both desk rentals and makerspace facilities. And so I do a little bit of 3D printing, training, machine management, things like that. But I also have been doing a lot of community organizing and networking events for the members. And I find that part really important because for me, networking and community has had a great effect on my career. That's why I'm here today. And it also, I really believe that that is the most important part of the experience of being in a shared co-working space and a place like New York City. So I wasn't always very comfortable talking to people, but it all started like 4 years ago because of this movie. So who here has seen the movie Yes Man? All right, a really good portion of you, actually. So I don't know if it had this kind of effect on you guys, but it really changed my life. For those who haven't seen it, Jim Carrey is a cynical kind of no man, and then he decides to just be a yes man. That's the movie. But he also, by saying yes to things and being open to those opportunities, he finds out what he's afraid of, what his real fears are, what his passions are, and he also figures out he just learned so much about himself that he's inspired to continue saying yes even after he got past that part where he was forcing himself to get into that habit. So I said I wanted to do that. It was right after I got out of college. I was very lost, very scared, and very cynical about saying yes to things. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna be a yes woman from that point on. And the first big thing that I said yes to was actually Maker Faire. And I love that, it's going right through my face, but Maker Faire, I was really afraid to go for some reason, and I was really nervous because I had this like imposter syndrome mentality where I was afraid to go and not feel included. But what ended up happening was a fire started inside me. I met people, I talked to people, and I was so motivated to continue doing that. It was a feeling I wanted to continue chasing. So year after year, I started going to maker fairs, but I also started going to other things, and that's how I ended up at Women in 3D Printing. One day, I just said, yes, I'm gonna go. And that's how I am here today. But the thing is, it's scary. It's a fear mindset, and something that I'm still dealing with. And so I'm a logical person. I like to think about why I'm afraid of something, why I'm faced with that fear. And I realized over time that it's the anxiety of the unexpected. It's the fear of not knowing what to do with yourself, like driving a car. If you don't know how to do it, it's scary. But, and so just like any of those things, it becomes a practice. It becomes a skill, and it becomes something that you get better at with trial and error. And so going to networking events, going to community events is nerve-wracking for the beginner, but with practice you can do it. And so for me, I developed a few techniques that I've practiced and that I live by to this day, but it's become a little bit more natural. So without further ado, I'm gonna give you guys my 3 tips for networking for beginners. I'm glad that it's right in the middle. Great. So first tip is to arrive early. Now, the reason that I like this tip is because by arriving early, you're actually able to dodge the overwhelmingness of a crowd. You're giving yourself space to acclimate, and you're also having more one-on-one relationships with the people that you're talking to. You're not just going in and trying to start a conversation in the middle of 50 other people who are probably way more confident than you. And so I've always arrived early and left early too. Once it gets too crazy, I'm like, all right, I'm going home, going to bed. And so that has been a great way to get started in networking events, especially if you're a nervous person. But next is asking questions. Questions are, conversation starters, but they're also not really conversation extenders. They don't you don't just start a conversation with someone and then, say, next question. Great, it's not an interview. But the kind of questions that you want to ask are big questions, deeper questions, open-ended questions. One of my favorite questions to ask is, what is the pivotal moment in someone's career that made them choose the path that they're on? For me, it was the Yes Man movie. And so that question gives everyone a great experience to talk about their life and their memories and things like that. And so it really opens up the conversation. But more importantly, gives you a chance to discuss stories, gives you a chance to share that experience and relate back to your experiences, because everyone has a different story. Because within a community, there's your story and then there's their story. But right in the middle, in a saturated Venn diagram, there is a richer experience, there is a stronger bond. And so sharing stories is really important. There's so many conversations that kind of go like, you know what, that kind of happened to me too. I relate back to that and stuff like that. And honestly, that's the heart of community. The heart of community is the stories that we tell, the stories that we're a part of, and the stories that we relate to. So when it comes to networking events, it's just a tool. You're just going up to people and trying to start a conversation, but really it's about you sharing your story and them sharing theirs. Because we're vicariously living through each other's stories and experiences. You have one life, one story, and they have theirs. So it's important to open up that conversation, ask questions, get to know your community, and tell your story. So, what's your story? Thank you all.